You think the top 1% win because they have secret investments, private deals, better connections, or some hidden financial map the rest of the world never gets to see. Not really. Those things can help later, but the real difference starts much earlier. It starts with how they think about money itself. The gap is not just income, it is interpretation. Two people can earn the same amount and still make completely different decisions because they are asking completely different questions. That is why this topic matters. People assume wealth starts with access. Often it starts with perspective. The top 1% do not just earn more, they frame money differently. They do not only ask, how much does this cost? They ask, what does this do? What does it unlock? What does it protect? What does it compound? What does it steal? And once you start asking those questions, your financial behavior changes fast. Hey, I'm Kira. By the end of this video, you will understand 3 mental models that shape how high-level wealth thinks about money. Money as a tool, time as the real premium asset, and risk as something to manage instead of fear. Then I'll give you a simple test to figure out which model you need most right now. Because the difference between you and the top 1% is often not information first. It is mindset first. Mental model number 1. Money is a tool, not the goal. This sounds small until you realize how much it changes. If money is the goal, you hoard it, worship it, fear losing it, and measure your life by the number itself. But if money is a tool, then the real question becomes, what is this tool helping me build? Freedom, security, options, time, income-producing assets, better decisions? Suddenly, money stops being an identity object and becomes a utility, and utilities are meant to be used intelligently, not admired emotionally. This is one of the biggest differences in behavior. A lot of people treat money like a scoreboard. Richer thinking treats money like leverage. A scoreboard tells you how you compare. Leverage tells you what you can do next. That shift matters because when money becomes leverage, you stop chasing it only for status and start deploying it for outcomes. You stop thinking, how much can I accumulate? And start thinking, how can this capital make my life less fragile and more powerful? This is why some wealthy people look less emotionally attached to money than people with far less of it. It is not always because they care less. It is because they understand its function better. Money sitting still is one thing. Money solving problems, buying back time, creating optionality, and producing future cash flow is another. Once you see money as a tool, almost every spending and investing decision becomes clearer. You stop asking whether something looks expensive. You start asking whether it is strategically useful. Mental model number 2. Time matters more than money. This is where wealthy thinking gets very different, very fast. Most people protect money aggressively and spend time carelessly. High-level wealth often does the opposite. They protect time like it is the real scarce asset, because it is. Money can be rebuilt, time cannot. Once you understand that, a lot of expensive decisions start making more sense. Think about the question, how much is your hour worth? Most people do not know, and that is a problem, because if you do not know the value of your time, you will trade it away constantly for tasks, errands, low-return work, and cheap savings that cost you far more in energy than they return in money. Top earners are often ruthless about this. They will spend money to save time because they understand the saved time can be redirected into higher value decisions, work, recovery, or opportunity. This does not mean pay people to do everything and become a fake productivity robot. It means learning the difference between frugality and misallocation. Saving $20 is not automatically smart if it costs you 2 exhausted hours and blocks work that matters more. Richer thinking asks, is this the highest use of my time? That is a very different question from, can I avoid paying for this? One is strategic, the other is reactive. Mental model number 3. Risk is not something to avoid completely. It is something to understand, price, and manage. This is where most people get stuck. They define risk emotionally. Anything uncertain feels dangerous. Wealthy thinking defines risk more structurally. What is the downside? How likely is it? Can it be limited? Can it be diversified? What is the upside? What is the cost of not acting? That last one matters a lot, because playing too safe can be a huge risk over a lifetime. This is the difference between do not lose thinking and build thinking. If your only financial objective is to avoid loss, you will often stay too close to cash, avoid investing too long, reject opportunities that involve normal uncertainty, and slowly fall behind while feeling responsible. But building anything meaningful requires managed risk. Business requires it, investing requires it, career growth requires it, even changing direction requires it. The goal is not zero risk. The goal is intelligent exposure. That is why the top 1% often ask different questions. Not, is this risky? But is this risk worth taking? Not, can I lose? But what happens if I do nothing? Not, how do I feel about this? But what does the probability-adjusted outcome look like? They are not immune to fear. They are just more trained at putting structure around uncertainty. And that makes them look calmer. Not because the stakes are lower, but because their thinking is better organized. So here is the simple test. Which of these 3 beliefs sounds most like you right now? 1. Money is the goal. 2. Time is something I spend casually because money feels more urgent. 3. Risk is something I mostly try to avoid. Your answer tells you where to start. If you picked the first, you need to learn leverage. If you picked the second, you need to price your time. If you picked the third, you need to study risk instead of reacting to it emotionally. And the important part is this: you do not need top 1% money to begin thinking this way. In fact, you need this thinking before the money arrives, or you will probably misuse more income the same way you used less income. That is why this is not motivational fluff. It is operating system design. The way you frame money determines what you do with it when you finally have more of it. So here is your move this week. Pick one of the 3 models and apply it in one concrete place. If your problem is money as goal thinking, review one expense or investment through the lens of leverage. If your problem is time, calculate what your hour is worth and identify one task you should stop doing personally. If your problem is risk, write down one financial decision you keep avoiding and define the actual downside in plain language. Clarity reduces fear fast. The difference between you and the top 1% is not just money. It is how you think when money enters the room. They do not just earn more, they ask better questions, protect time harder, and manage risk more intelligently. This mental model takes 5 minutes to understand, and years to realize how much your old one was costing you. That is the full picture. Money is a tool. Time is the premium asset. Risk is something to manage, not worship or fear. Start with the model you are weakest in, and your decisions will begin to change before your income does. Subscribe if this helped, and I'll see you in the next video.